What's going on, YouTube? This is Squids. How's everybody doing today? Getting that new Demon Slayer into our systems and going, looking forward to this arc, honestly. I mean, if you watched any of my other Demon Slayer videos that I have done on the first season and then last week's episode, I should have done season 2, but it is what it is. But I personally am not, I know I'm not going to get a lot of heat for this, but Inosuke and Zenitsu, not my favorite characters. Not a big fan of the over trifling comic relief, but I do enjoy them every now and then. But gosh, it's just so dang much of them. I just can't stand it. But I digress. Let's get into this first episode here. So it starts off pretty much literally shot for shot of where episode 1 actually ended, where you got those three sitting out there in the field, Tokito and the other two, quote unquote, we don't know yet, but one is Yoriichi, and of course Tanjiro is the one looking out there, but he's kind of looking out there seeing what's going on. And from what we can tell, obviously Tokito is definitely got this kid by the nuts and just abusing him, and Tanjiro, being the good guy he is, with a big heart and everything else, comes to run to save the kid, and within like 2 seconds he's just slapped down. Just slapped down, like not even a challenge to this guy. And freaking within 2 seconds he picks up the kid, and at this point we don't, quote unquote, know his name yet, but he picks him up and makes sure he's okay. And over on the left hand corner, Tokito is just like, oh, he kind of got away. And like I've said, I've never read any of the source material for this series. This is all like a fresh thing for me. And from what I can get, most of the time we get these uppers, and like they're usually just, from what the other few we've met, they're usually like just conceited a-holes, and then like we get to know them better and they respect Tanjiro and all that fun stuff, kind of like a repetitive cycle. However, this is probably my least favorite one so far. I do love his aesthetic and his look, but just not a fan. Anyways, we get freaking Tokito pretty much shaming this kid for, being a swordsmith, pretty much telling him he's useless and that he can't defend anybody and yada yada yada. Just being a total conceited butthole. And right after that, Tanjiro gets right back up again, and he's like, you're wrong, screw you, man, screw you. And he just, good old shot in the neck, knock him right out. Which is fair, because, to be fair, Tanjiro just got out of his, long freaking coma after practically dying facing one of them. So he's still pretty weak. Granted, as a character, he's definitely still weak, even though he defeated one of them, in my opinion. He's got a lot of growing to do, at least physically, mentally, and, his personality and persona. He's a pretty damn solid character, so, you can't really get wrong with that. But anyways, we cut back to him on the ground, passed out still, and lo and behold, while he's on the ground, the swordsmith, who was overhearing the whole conversation right before this, but shows up with the little boy, and he's like, well, let's just carry him down to the back of the hill. The moment he wakes up, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And so, he's waking up instantly, and Haganazaka gets the hell out of there. And instantly he's like, no, that wasn't him. And we come to find out that while he was passed out, Tokito ended up taking the thing that with the key that needed the key, and you kind of find out it's this mechanical doll that was built by the kid's ancestors. And obviously they haven't stated it or anything, but we all know that it was based off Yoriichi 300 years ago, and it was based off of him, and the only way they could make it to keep up with his swordsmithing skills, or his swordsmanship, was to give it 6 arms. And of course he feels like he's a nobody now, because he's not good as a swordsmith. He couldn't repair that doll if he wanted to. And right when everything's starting to get sentimental, Tokito's crow comes around, and it's this little feminine know-it-all crow who just a smart ass saying that he's doing sun style, and even though Tanjiro calls him out on the shit, and gets pinched in the cheek for it, of course, because why wouldn't he? And we find out the kid's name, and it's Kotetsu. And, they start bonding with each other a little more, and he tells him, that crow's wrong. Screw that crow. And he pretty much runs away instantly because we see pieces of this doll getting chipped off, and he knows that he can't fix it. And so Tanjiro comes after him and tells him, hey man, you're going to be able to do this. I might die doing my goal, finding Michael Jackson and saving my sister, but as long as you dedicate it, you can do this, And he gets him out of the tree, and within like 2 seconds, we flash over. We flash right over to Tokito, and he's done training. Even though he said he could take it all night, he was done training. And of course, we find out that we see him with one of the katanas with one of the doll arms stuck to it. So clearly, he's done some damage to this thing. And Kotetsu, my bad, is bawling, and he is mad. He is pissed off. And so they get over there and they want to test it out. And of course, it's raining to get that atmospheric vibe going on. And the doll works. And so Kotetsu goes, you're gonna be better than him. You're gonna be stronger than him, and you're gonna say all this shit to him once you get stronger. But until then, you're training with the doll, and you're not stopping. So he's going 3-4 days of just training, and he's saying all these things that he wants him to say to him once he gets there, putting his head on display, and he's a piece of shit and all this stuff. And Tanjiro's a good guy, so he would never say that. But they keep training, and it's pretty intensive training, and pretty much what he told him is he doesn't get any food or water until he gets some hits in. Whoo! And we come to find out it's been a couple days now, and Tanjiro's looking a little bony, and he mentally passes out, and he sees this shiny thing in his dream that kind of gets him to see the strings, like what he does with regular fighting. Obviously, because it's a puppet, there's no scent that he can really whiff to get the strings going on, but something in his sleep caused him to be able to, so now he can, and he gets a tiny little dink cut, not much, just enough to be able to get some food. So he gets some rice rolls, some tea, and I think they were plum if I remember correctly. Either way, it doesn't matter, but he gets food finally, and everything starts picking up. And he gets to the point now where he's almost gonna cut the head off, and he's considerate guy, so he's not gonna do it. But Kotetsu says, just fucking chop it, we'll fix it, I'll learn how to. So Tanjiro closes his eyes, chops that head right off, lands right on his tush, probably breaks his tailbone. Straight freaking dirt. And right after that, we get this nice scene of the face of it just chopped off, the swords kind of drop, and what do you know, out of nowhere, right, comes a sword coming out of his head, which 99.99% is the exact same sword that Mitsuri was talking about last week's episode, and that is the sword. And this is going to be a whole thing, I guarantee it, because obviously I don't know for sure because I've never seen the series, like I said, or read the mangas, I should say. But yeah, that's definitely Gotouri's sword, and the fact that he's a demon now is going to cause some conflict, and it's just going to get brutal and heated and amazing. And that's the end of the episode. So I thought it was a pretty damn good episode. I'm really excited to see where this action and everything's going to go with his training at the mid end of this arc, since this one, if I remember correctly, is going to be 11 episodes. However, we'll see how it goes. Very pumped about this. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments. Granted, we've got, better episodes to come, but I enjoyed it. It wasn't too overpacked, not too much, comic and relief, and the action was good, especially when, they were doing the training. They did so good with it, and that's one thing I do appreciate about this show, is even if the plot's a little dull, or there's too much comic relief, or there's just something you don't like, the animation styles of this show are just unbelievable, and animation alone can't carry a series, but I think what they're trying to do is good, especially for being a shonen, and it's improved tenfold since the first season. So it's got some improvement, and I'm really excited to see where this arc goes. I mean, hopefully we get a little more, mommy Mitsuri, but it is what it is. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you're feeling generous, click that subscribe button. And if you didn't enjoy it, you stayed this long, I thank you very much. And yeah, this has been Squids, and we'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.